what's up, everybody? Appreciate y'all. This is the One on One Sports Show. My name is Charania.
My name is Dante.
Appreciate y'all for joining us again for one more week. And before we get started, be sure to we appreciate you if y'all like and subscribe to the Black Man Unfiltered Network. And with that being said, I guess y'all saw it on the initial title of the screen. Um, one topic that we wasn't originally going to start off with because the news broke out later in the day, but it's the topic that we touched on it last week. The whole drama going on with Travis Rudolph in his case, um, and the news came out that he was found not guilty on all four counts. I'm not sure exactly what each count represented, but he was basically found not guilty. And Dante, I guess I'll let you, if you want to give the whole recap of exactly what was going on with Rudolph.
So basically, I know we I think we spoke on it on the end of the show last week because
Yeah, yeah, we
it
did.
was a more of a somber moment. So we'll rightfully perfectly so we'll start this week with it on a well for some a good moment. Felt like Mr. Randolph Rudolph was vindicated. So basically, him and his girlfriend get into a fight. There's video footage of what happened because ring cameras. People forget there's
Yeah.
cameras literally everywhere. So it's them getting into it. He called, like I said, he called her out of her name. She starts, beating him up like she's, admitted to this on the stand. And then so they get into it. She literally texts her brothers, shoot his shit up.
Hmm.
And everybody, excuse my language, but everybody in the chat, everybody watching, you can probably imagine what that means. So her brother and four men show up to the house and they have the end of how it starts. And his brother comes out and is like, hey, what's up? It was like, yo, Travis here. And, it's they ain't there to preach the word to him, or they ain't there just to talk. So it's kind of like it's that kind of situation. So basically, his brother is getting jumped, and he said one of the gentlemen had a gun. He runs in the house to get his AR-15, and that's the thing. They may have had a weapon. He had an AR-15. Maybe he was a good. Obviously, he was some level of able to shoot. So I want to say he injured a few of the men. One of the men he did, unfortunately kill. But it's a situations where they came and brought that situation to him. There was a lot of shots fired. It was like over 40 shots fired. They failed the case, and I think that initially the judge may not have had all the evidence, but he didn't. He charged them with murder. Charged them. And so he ends up having those four counts. But the one thing I'll say for me is seeing him do interviews while I've been watching this stuff on YouTube and not been able to watch it on court TV, just too busy, but being able to see he's done interviews on it. And, he took the stand. Whenever you see that
Hmm.
defendant take the stand, it's like, oh, okay, you ain't got nothing to hide because they're going to cross examine you and come hard. Now, I want to say they brought the gun out. And I was reading where the judge was like, can you put the gun away? And that was and I guess that was for the shock value. Okay, but we built it up. He said she wasn't a girlfriend, she was a sneaky leak, and this woman was married. Yes, she was married, and that's in fact that we brought up in the case, and it's one of the deals to where it was kind of weird when you read that she basically saw evidence of cheating, but it's like you mad about him cheating, but you told this man that what kind of situation y'all really should have, and it was confusing. It was definitely confusing to see that y'all
And
wasn't like together like that. But she said that on stand. She was like, "Hey, we had been together, we had talked for a while," and then she was like, we were reconnecting, and it just it didn't really match up. And then her explanation that like, "Oh, I didn't want them to shoot him, but everything but him,"
yeah, I'm about
and
to
I'm
say
like,
her explanation of them texts, because I forgot exactly what she said, but when I heard it initially, I was like, yeah, you screwed yourself over with that answer.
mm,
Because with the explanation, she was trying to correct herself. And like, nah, man, you didn't fail it on that one.
yeah, she definitely did that one. So for him to get that to me, it's not about his pro career or anything because that's pretty much done. He was an undrafted player, but just to be able to live your life because it was either that or facing a jail, a prison sentence. So I'm glad on that side he got that, but I feel like, in my opinion, you got upset. It was an argument. Y'all got into a fight. If okay, he put your hands on the physical altercation. Does not mean you should send someone to try to take his life. Essentially, Someone would say, "Hey, you placed a hit on that guy," you know, and in the heat of moment, and that's where being able to discuss situations like, "Hey, I felt like the brother should have been like, you sure?" But seeing that it went like that, likely she knew he's somebody that was, as they say, about that type of life, and he went to go and handle up for a Caesar, defend her rights, but it didn't work out for him.
They
As you
tried to
feel.
play a stupid game. They lost. What we built to say, let's be fair. They thought that man was cheating.
No,
Yeah.
that's what we mentioned things like that before. There, when you say equality between men and women, there are certain things that are not going to be apple to apple. There aren't. And as far as how things happen in domestic violence type of situations, things aren't going to look like that. I was literally saw a woman on Twitter said it was sassy for a man to call the police on a woman. And I'm like, yeah, I was like, but he also can't put his hands on it. We know that. That's the golden rule I was taught as a man. You don't put your hands on a woman. So you can just act a fool with him, but he can't call the police. That's sassy. And all the men were like, well, call me sassy. They was a whole bunch of jokes. I mean, I think she got a lot more attention than she planned, but I felt that same kind of energy from a situation like this. Like, oh, I can do that. That's cool. But you fully expected to go to trial because you shot at my brother. You killed one of his friends. And I think in one way justice was served, but now I know whoever that the gentleman that died, I know they're looking at her like, dang, I wish you wouldn't have, I wish you wouldn't sent that text to
Exactly.
get them
Because
all
she
involved.
created that. She started the whole thing. Even the squad. I don't want to say squad because I don't really know if he hit her. I think he restrained her after she was kept hitting him.
Yeah,
But
she did.
yeah, but
She
she
did.
started the whole thing as far as physically, going. But so that's good that he was able to get his justice on that part. I don't see what was so different when they initially declined his stand my ground thing, because that's ultimately what he did. They came to his house, they said no to that, but they still found him not guilty on all the
Yeah.
other counts. So that's good. I'm curious to see what's going to happen to her. I don't. I'm not. I. I don't know if anything. I don't know if anything's going to happen to her really, because a lot of times it just don't. Even though
Yeah.
she was the spearhead with the text messages and everything, I
I,
just.
I got a feeling. I got a feeling today sit with the closing chapter, and we building. I did see what you said. She 100% should be held accountable for like what she did in the situation.
Mhm.
I don't see a difference. We've there has been situations people have done less and been gotten in trouble for. It's not apples to apples, but I've seen places where if you knew something of illegal and you just mentioned someone's name, that can get you some jail time. So I don't see how you can on earth you can say, hey, with that type of language, with the text, with the obviously the video evidence. So I'm assuming since he was the shooter and she wasn't there at the time of the incident, maybe that's how they tried to do it, or the fact that I'm not really sure. I don't really see that.
A good dude with a ratchet. I don't
No,
know.
you know what? That kind of goes into what we were talking about before. The making
Oh,
the kind of decisions that you make. You gotta be
his is a little
careful with
bit
that because
different. His is a
yeah.
little
But
bit
I
different.
want to say this. This ties into when you talk about tying this into sports. Was it? I think Warren Sapp was doing the interview. I think he did it with Vlad. He was just like, these four things will get you caught up in trouble as far as being in the league. And he was just like, women being up after 12, and I can't remember the other two. Is just and it's a situation where it's like, yeah, when you think about it, a lot of athletes, you got to be careful about the
Hmm.
decision making of who you choosing to spend your time with, because yeah, you had the best intentions, but if this person is not from the right ilk, things can go left real quick. We've seen this from athletes plenty of times where it's just like, man, this situation ended up bad. Some people handle it in the right way, and they're able to get out of it and learn their lessons. And some, obviously, I'm pretty sure he's going. I hate that it had to be like this, but I'm pretty sure he'll change his decision making process.
And the other player that we was kind of hitting at was this whole Zion Williamson thing that's going on with the internet. Me personally, I hate when people choose to try to blast or air out their private life on social media. And I
That
guess
I hate it.
they trying to do this. They trying to embarrass and whatever their end game is. I'm like, well, what? Why you just putting all this for people who have no business knowing what's going on behind closed
Hmm.
doors? But that's what they do, and I think it's just the way it's just the society we live in today with the whole social media. Everybody wants that attention, and then if they feel upset in any way, they first thing is to try to blast you and embarrass you to the mass public. Instead of hell, I don't know if they try to make it better or get some revenge. I don't know what they end game is, but I just get tired of seeing people just trying to just splatting all their private lives or private business. Us on the outside have no idea. We don't even know if
Yeah.
that woman and Zion had a relationship. You
Yeah,
know,
that's the main thing I go with. It's just like, how do we know you didn't have someone else's name, switch the name? And people do anything for clout these days. They do anything
yeah.
for clout and attention. And so I don't know. Now I know what we got. The main things coming up is coming up in about what about it maybe 30 minutes to an hour. I think game three is gonna start.
Is it? Is it not a in
Oh wait, it is
Miami?
a seven. No, it's a 7:30, so it's not actually 16 minutes actually. So I know
Yeah.
I'm gonna have an eye on that. But did you want to squeeze in real quick the the bomb that was dropped on Monday? Was it
Bomb that
Monday
was
or
dropped up.
Tuesday?
Oh, the whole
The
Kyrie.
Kyrie Irving and recruiting. And
I'm
so
not surprised, but him trying to you hearing rumors about him trying to recruit LeBron to Dallas, because they was trying to, you hear somebody, I think Bill Simmons
Bill
mentioned this
Simmons, yep,
about a year ago. LeBron, Kyrie, Luka, and I forgot the fourth player,
Draymond.
Draymond.
He mentioned Drake because he mentioned this. Somebody showed the tweet from March when he said this, and I was just like, "That's insane!" Like I can't even find a way to get this to work. And so I'll explain it in a couple of different ways that why it was all right.
But
You
money
can
wise, I don't
speculate.
see it happening. Money wise,
I don't
unless Kyrie and LeBron take a huge pay cut.
unless they took a massive pay cut, and then the thing is for it to be like, hey, I want to play with you in 2023, 2024. No, in 2024, 2025, yes, LeBron has a player option. And so yeah, I can definitely see that, but I just don't see them being able to. I mean, Draymond, I see him staying and reing up and staying where he's at. I don't see the Parsons fit. I also don't see it fitting from the standpoint of I'm trying to think. Um, it in the story from I want to say it was Haynes dropped it, Chris Haynes and Shams dropped it. I want to say it was Haynes report that the Mavericks had inquired about LeBron during the season when things were down for the Lakers. The
Oh
only thing
yeah,
about that was
and
LeBron
Luka.
signed his extension in like August. He signed his extension in the summer, so by the time he set his extension, he was not eligible to be traded this season at all. He couldn't be traded. Even if LeBron was like, "Hey, I demand a trade to Dallas," it couldn't happen. Now, if it was a situation where they were trying to set it up for maybe the next year, maybe. But with them Lakers turning things around, I don't see it. It's been speculated from the the different YouTubers and different media personalities of saying maybe this is like more of a directive to like, "Hey, Lakers, get Kyrie here." As far as the pressure thing, it's just that they're not gonna cooperate because it had to be take a pay cut because the Lakers just don't have enough money they don't have enough ways to offload salary to get him there. And the league with the new I've said it and I'm gonna keep saying it until like maybe it gets through. Man, they've set this CB up so cold. Like if you're over what they call a second tax apron enough times,
Mhm.
they won't take your draft pick, but no matter where you are, they will automatically take your draft pick and put it to the bottom of the first round. And so if that's not incentive, because like in the past, it's been like, oh, I'm rich, I'm just gonna overspend, you know. So that's crazy that you think that that's absolutely crazy that teams they put that story out there. And then Kyrie has said it. Anything that you see this summer comes from me. He said this. He said to stop with the sources and obviously with Shams and Chris, two guys that are known for having relationships with players as far as sources, doing interviews. So it's just like take that what you will. It could be some bite to it that somebody's recruiting somebody.
Yeah.
Somebody.
I saw something like the Lakers wasn't really interested in any trades with Dallas unless Luka was going to be a part of the package, and Dallas ain't going to do that. So I'm
well,
like,
I think I know what that meant. What that meant was, remember when that story came out that they were like, "No, we're not interested in D'Angelo Russell in a buying trade," and they said in a signing trade, and they also said that they were not going to help any team that made a trade that wanted to sign Kyrie. It's basically like you better clear the cap space to sign him, or and I've heard that it's kind of like this approach, like, hey, this is the money you can get. We can give you the best. Go ahead, if you want to go out and see something else, but this is what we have for you. I've heard that's kind of the Mavericks approach with him. And so it's kind of like you reading the tea leaves, and the thing is, I'll say about the tea leaves, somebody's right and somebody's wrong. And it'll all come out by July, and the stories will come out, and it'll eventually come out like, oh, well, this is where that came from, and this is what that means. And it's just, I don't know, man. I just do think this. Adam Silver needs to send out a memo. This is game 3. We all know games that are a series that are tied 1-1. Whoever wins game 3 wins 80% of the time. That means we have some build up to this game. The way the Heat looked game 1 and they, came out and played good. I would think that a memo needs to be said like, hey, we need to go ahead and seal it up. And of course, if you say seal it up, you know what you can threaten with? Draft picks. We're gonna take draft picks, or we're gonna dock you, dock something.
he
Because
don't want no attention from this game. From the
all the
fans.
attention needs to be about the game.
He already
And this is like
postponed the pending job
suspension,
punishment because he didn't want that to
even though it's
overtake the finals. So
even though it's leaking out what that's gonna
basically what's
be.
happening now with the Kyrie and stuff. He's like, they just want to keep. And I saw something right before we came online. Somebody created a joke. You already know Michael Malone. He already complaining about the Nuggets not being
Getting
talked about as
respected.
much. So all of a sudden, Game 3 is tonight. Next thing you know, you got this whole stupid story about Ja and what his
Yeah.
camp came out with, Kyrie and Chris Paul getting waived by the Suns, and
Yes.
then
Yeah.
all 3 of those came out and already overshadowed Game 3.
Yeah. And
So
I was
I'm like,
like, yo, that's just they gotta go ahead and get this stuff tightened up. And the thing is, with the Suns, look, you have a new owner, and
that's
so
what
he
I said.
hasn't
The
been an
new
owner
owner.
before. And so it's just like somebody needs to pull him aside, be like, "Hey, go ahead and you'll never fully find all the leaks, but just make sure that stuff gets covered up and gets shut down because you don't want to take the floor from the game. Like that's. I can understand it if it's one of those like the break week, and I understand it's tough when they have the road games in the finals. They have the 2 days off, 1 day for travel, 1 day for practice.
Hmm.
And so that's where we're at right now. It won't be as bad because we'll have another game Friday, and so it'll just be the 1 day off since they're in
It's
Miami.
the 2 games in Miami will be the only time they have a game off
Yeah.
game. Other than that, it's going to go back to how it was in Denver for the rest of the playoffs.
Mhm.
2 games, rest or whatnot. What's up, Jay?
So yeah, that's they got to chill on that because we were talking about how it was going to be low attendance, not a lot of people, watching. Excuse me, low viewership, and I think the game 1 was 11 million viewers,
Yeah,
so it was.
Game 1 already proved majority of people wrong about nobody wanting to watch
And I appreciate
the
it
finals.
because the one thing I like as a huge NBA fan, I hate the way people always take it with no contest and line it up against the NFL. And it's like, well, and I'm like, well, when Jordan, and then they go to where Jordan, I was like, so you going to when people could VCR watch games and comparing it to streaming? I know they don't probably encapsulate all of the viewing because I do a lot of my NBA viewing from the app because it's like, man, it's 82 games. You got to be fair and be like, hey, I'm just gonna hog the TV, so I'm watching on either the phone, tablet, doing something else, paying attention to the game. I know I'm not the only one that does that. A lot of people would. about 5, 6 years ago, went to cord cutting. So it's just like the cable numbers, are down, but people are streaming, and the NBA is big on streaming. Like they got,
Mm-hmm.
like I remember there's times where I haven't bought the full league pass. I'm buying the fourth quarter, especially with this Lakers season. At the beginning of the season, I was pissed. So it'd be like, oh, they in the game, I'm gonna buy it. And sometimes I buy it, and it's like, damn, I got down 15. It's like I just blew a few dollars, but it's like that. But my thing is too, man, they not giving these guys the people that make those billions. They might know a little bit more than us. They ain't paying this much for something that's a depreciating asset. They're paying for something that they know, hey, these people are tuning in, even if some of it is China or like I think Japan got a lot of viewers when Rui Hachimura came to the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
Like they said them numbers was crazy, and so the viewership is there, and only thing that the league needs to do, and I know they're happy about it. It's time for the handoff. It's time for the hand. I know Colin Cowherd talked about it. It's time for the LeBron to pass that baton to somebody else. Because when he,
I keep every time I think
Steph's gonna be
about
around a
that.
few years though. But
Every time I keep thinking about that, I don't know who will be that next face. Because me, I look at it like I categorize it. So there's a star, there's a superstar, and a superstar to me, because I think that word is just get used
used
all
too
over.
much.
Yeah, but a superstar to me is a player that is successful on court and is recognized nationally. They is recognized by, of course, the hardcore fans and the casual fans. And I remember
hmm
I posed a question: is Nikola Jokic a superstar? And I think I said he's a star because think about it, Nikola Jokic now, because Jokic already won his back-to-back MVPs.
hmm
Now is the most talk you ever heard about Jokic. So it's basically
Yeah.
his popularity is being built now. And well within the country, back home in his home country, he's always been. They got posters of Jokic everywhere. But here in the U.S., you don't hear Jokic. It was always about Giannis, LeBron,
hmm
and Steph. They are icons. They're not even
Icons. I know
superstars. They are
you big
icons.
on nowadays. That's a
Yeah,
different level.
that's a
That's a,
different level.
that's a
That's why
different level.
LeBron is like he's like when people if they like to try to, especially during back in the more of the social justice when the bubble and all
hmm
that, people who really didn't follow the NBA. They had their own beliefs or opinions about when the players was kneeling and whatnot. They don't attack the players. The other players could do whatever. The main person they always go to was LeBron.
hmm
He was
Yeah.
and that's how. And then
He
of
got the
course
blame for China.
yeah, they will attack him
It's,
for everything. But when another player said, you don't hear nothing about it. So that's like an
yeah.
iconic level because of him and his influence on this. Cause he's big in social
Yeah.
media and stuff. And Jordan, he was the main. Jordan is still talked about today as far as in that
Yeah.
iconic level. So, but I don't know because Steph and LeBron are icons to me, and they both of them are clearly the face. But when them two retire, and it's like, okay, who is going to be the main player that the NBA and from the casual fans and even out the mainstream that's not necessarily basketball followers, who would they point to? And I have no idea
No, they
who
had
that
they
will
they
be.
they had one in mind, but he's blowing it.
You think Ja would have been next?
They were putting him in position to be next because Zion has not stepped up and filled the shoes.
I
And I
think
told you
Zion could
when I
have been
saw
it. I think
when I
Zion could
saw
have been it.
Zion could have been it, and that was the plan. Like that was the plan because two guys were made, in my opinion, angled to be the big thing. Luca was exploding. Jordan signed him. Jordan Brand needs young life, so you had young international guy Luca, and then you got Zion from Duke, the hype sensation. I've been hearing about Zion since he was a sophomore, and I remember my brother was like, "Oh, look at Zion, look at," like I said, he plays in them tournaments, and he, YouTube, and he sees them, and I'm like, I gotta wait and see. I was just like, because he always jokes with me, and it's just like, "Oh, you're burned from." I was like, "Yes, I bought in on the Andrew Wiggins hype," and I was just like, "You have all the physical tools, and you just were not the star that I thought you could be." Very good role player with Golden State, but I thought he should have been the leader of a team, and a lot of people even thought that the Cavs made a mistake in trading him for Kevin Love, and
Kevin
I
Love.
always looked at them like he
It
wasn't
worked
gonna
for him.
come unless they did that.
It worked for him. So I
It
mean,
worked, and that's the thing. It worked for them.
they won.
They won, and they went multiple times. And so, like, and that's the other thing about LeBron. Literally every team he's played for, you can make a case for. Hey, bro, you might want to retire his number. Well, Cleveland, no doubt. The Heat, he to be honest, no disrespect to Dwayne Wade, he's the best player. He's the best player in Heat history. And the reason why he's not the best, Lakers history is a lot of reasons, but there's a really great track record. And so,
Mm-hmm.
so it's just like, yeah, they're icons. I don't know who's next. And I will say this, and you might agree with me on this, you might not. There needs to be a guy that's a face that is an American-born player because this is our game. There's no disrespect. It's been across the world. There's a Giannis is, and he knows English well enough, and he speaks it. What is it? Them Pixel phone commercials, them Google commercials. If they
Mm-hmm.
drop a new phone, they're getting Giannis in the commercial. Like they have been pushing him in that regard, and it's just like, oh, okay, and so they're pushing him, and so he's doing it. I guess Luka's time will come, and he's in a bigger market than Giannis, but more playoff success. So so there's more eyeballs on you. The later you play, it's less teams playing. So I will say there needs to be another American superstar. We're gonna see what Scoot Henderson has from Overtime Elite, but right now Josh kind of on the back burner. I'm hoping because he still has some things he had to fix. That's why I never called him a true superstar, but he was a box office guy that you did go to see. But nah, and Jokic is just a future Hall of Famer. He's not flashy, so no, he's never going to be the box office. He's never going to be that. Where it's
Mm-hmm.
like, and then like we said, the way he played, and then even with the games played, you can trick that up because like from working and seeing how companies use the Mountain Time Zone, their time zone is not as late as the West Coast, but it's not central. It's like
They
it's
are
like in
hour behind
between.
Central, while West
Yeah,
Coast is two
yeah.
hours behind us.
And so they can fix it where they can put his games because if you notice, and I can testify to this as a longtime Laker fan, man, you used to get them games at all right, it's starting late because of that game. This game is tipping off at 9:40, 9:45. And so you're up way after midnight in the central time zone.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron came out west. Nah, we about to bump that to 9 o'clock central time. Like they have bumped the times up so that they won't lose the audience because they know people want to see him. So like you said, Shani, who's the next one to do that? I don't know, but it's been a lot of hype about Victor Wembanyama. And then it works for the league in this regard for the conspiracy theorists. You get to go to a market that's not big in San Antonio, which I remember I never understood how that worked because I just thought I was like, well, it's like a million people because San Antonio is a bigger city than Dallas,
Mm-hmm.
population to population, but it's nowhere near like the importance and like the factor is like
Yeah,
that Dallas Fort
it's not
Worth
an
Metroplex.
attention
It's
hub, but
not.
it's bigger. It's the
Yeah,
second biggest city in the
it's
state.
yeah. So yeah, it's Houston, them, and then it's Dallas, right?
But I believe it would have been Zion because the hype and the fanfare that he had when he was with Duke and how all them celebrities was coming to his games in Duke, and then the hype that he had coming into the league.
What's up,
That
Simon?
would I think that would have been a no brainer as far as Zion would have taken that baton and just been the face because everybody he was drawing a huge
It was
crowd,
time.
and now this dude because he's always injured, people just pretty much just basically moved him to the side.
This is make a
Ja,
break for him this year.
yeah, because Ja, he came from Murray State, so he didn't have that following. And then he goes from Murray State to Memphis. Memphis, of course, is not the biggest market. People start seeing Ja, his high flying act, but still they haven't. Like I always say, your name is made in the playoffs, and even though the Grizzlies Actually, I believe last year when the Warriors won the the title, I think that was Ja's coming out party last year because he was giving the Warriors hell. And but I don't know if he maybe I guess they was grooming him to be the next face, but just because he was in Memphis, it was only so much that you saw of him. You
But
know,
but
it's
see,
just
I think Memphis had that they in that good time zone too because that's one of those deals. They're in the
they're in a
Western
good time
Conference, but
zone.
aren't they in the Eastern zone?
Yeah, that's yeah. They in
Yeah.
Tennessee, but they in the Western
So
Conference, but they
yeah.
geographically in the east side of the country.
So you could put their games and do it like that, just like you can do it with the Mavs when they hit with Dirk or now with Luca. You can bump that game up to 7 or keep it at 7:30. Like 7:30 is the time when it's a regional game, but it's bumped to 7 when it's national. Sometimes even earlier because it's like which is it's tough as hell for Mavs fans to get there, and you'll see the late arriving crowd. It's not because they don't love the team. It's because Dallas Fort is big as hell, and it's like, bro, for me to get off my job or even if not, just to get from where I live to here, transit wise, it's tough, and that's a whole nother reason, whole nother stuff.
Miami go through the same thing. You always see
Yeah.
those folks. You in the first quarter, you see a lot of gaps. By the second quarter, they filled in. Halftime,
Hmm.
they go up, and so the third quarter is them gaps show back up. You seeing gaps again, and that Miami is the same way. I think they kind of worse that they folks just don't show up on time,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
so
they just that's the attitude and you know atmosphere and attitude there. Even though I know it's crazy, diehard Heat fans and stuff, but I want to get into something as far as the finals is concerned, and I think it was kind of there's a little bit of credence to this. I don't pay a whole bunch of attention to Stephen A. But when he said that Jokic got to get 10 or more assists for them to win, saw it firsthand. When Jokic sets guys up, they're playing defense harder. They're in game. They're engaged. I've seen it with not to crap on the dude, but I've seen with the LeBrons of the world. Even though he's a great passer, sometimes they can just not like oh my gosh he's so great, but it's just like you're not involved, so you're just kind of sitting and chilling. You're not cutting. You're not setting the screens as well. That's what happened the other night. Jokic just went off and nobody else was going. Like everybody else wasn't in the rhythm. So I think it's probably I would assume he's gonna have a concerted effort to be like, let me get guys involved because he can always get his.
well they changed the defense up on Murray. Like as soon as Murray get ball, they was blitzing him to make him get rid of the ball. So you know I still believe the Nuggets will win this series, but I wasn't tripping over the game one loss for Miami because I knew Spoelstra was going to make his adjustments. And Malone is a real good coach. He's going to make his adjustments. And I remember when we first was giving our predictions before the final started, I was like, I said Nuggets in 5, but I said all games are going to be close, just like in the West Conference Finals.
Mhm.
The Lakers could
Yeah,
have won every game, but the Nuggets' ability to close was the reason
yeah.
why they won those 4 games. And I thought it would be happening similar in this. Now, if Miami, who is also these playoffs have been a good clutch performing squad, because you saw that happen in game 2, they scored just enough, and then Murray had that little mini run at the end of the game, because otherwise they did a very good job of containing Murray until the last 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
And so I think they're gonna be doing something similar. But the biggest thing that came out of game 1 was that Miami they was getting their looks. They was just missing it. And game 2, you didn't see they was making those open looks a lot of the times. So you always hear a make or mislead, but it just
Hmm.
always tripped me out when after one game you hear people like, man, this series over. Like, dude, like every game, especially in a 7 game series, every game is a story of its own. You
Yeah.
can't expect what happens in game 1 basically stays in game 1. Game 2 is going to be a completely different storyline. Game 3 is going to be a completely different storyline. So you can't expect stuff to carry over because one thing about it, both of these teams got very good coaching staffs.
Hmm.
Both of them are good at making adjustments. So it's just like, okay, That didn't work this game. We see they're gonna study the tape. We're gonna make the adjustment. We're gonna have to counterpunch. So a lot of folks just think, okay, they know that it's a 7 game series. They know you got to win 4 games to win the series, but they keep it. It just never seem to. They never felt it like after 1 game, oh, this team gonna sweep. Oh, this team. Even if the game is a blowout, a lot of time in a basketball game, when it's a blowout that happened, one team just seemed to be shooting incredibly hot from the field, while the other one
Yeah.
can't make a shot. So that's generally what happens in a blowout. Because cause the NBA games are all about runs, especially in the playoffs. One team will make their run, then another team will make their run. They just go back and forth through the whole game making a run. Well, in a blowout, one team making a run, the other team they just can't make the shots to start their run, and then the league just grow. But that all just happens in 1 game. Just because you see that happen in 1 game and say in game 1, don't mean it's going to happen in game 2. It's a completely different scenario. The ball bounces in different ways and whatnot. It's not like football where everybody got to come up with their best game that 1 game, or else you'd be going home. So, but I still believe Denver would take this series. But if Miami just consistently make their shots like they did in game 2, they have a good shot of winning. Because that's the main thing for Miami. Because Denver's offense it's legit. It's legit. You're going to have to keep up with scoring and putting your defense on.
Yeah.
But Miami's going to have to continue scoring, or else if they don't score, then you're going to see something like game 1 again.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think if they do score, they can win. I just seeing what they have and how many things they got to get to go right. Like you said,
Exactly.
Start of the 4th quarter, Duncan Robinson, quick 10, and it's just like whoa, because it's like and then I know Hero's coming back. We don't know what he's gonna be, so it's just for me, it's kind of like I'd have to see him win. I don't know. I had to see him up 3-1 before I could believe they could really do it. I just really would. Just because, man, they just outmatched, they outgunned, and I felt like sometimes it's kind of like, hey, sometimes things happen. You get up and have a run, and it's like it's cool. What's going on, Corey? What's going on, Jay?
Man, if you can do us may you please drop that link for us. We'd love to have some of y'all people come and join us whenever y'all get a chance. But
So,
I need to see if that game has started. I'm keep getting.
It just tipped off. It just tipped off a little while ago. Heat up 5-0. So
I'm gonna put my game. I'm gonna put it on and just watch it. Have it playing on the side.
Okay, man. Hey, I know how you get down. I see you, man. I don't know if I told you before. Like, so me and Shuddy, we got like kids like basically a month apart, and so we was doing some trick or treating. It was a Sunday night game. The Cowboys was playing. Shiny had the game on the big screen, World Series on the tablet. My man was really getting it done. And I was like, "Hey, what's the score?" He was updating me. I'm looking, and it was crazy. It was crazy. So I
keep up with it. I got that YouTube subscription, that YouTube TV.
Oh, you got YouTube? Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. If I'm not in front of TV, no worries. The phone got my back.
Yeah, that's right.
I got the phone case with the kickstand.
Yeah, with the kick.
Yeah, I'm ready.
That's cool. You know what? Speaking of it, you know what's one thing I want for but especially for the fall. I used to really want Pro Football Focus. I used to really want it, but it's just like it's so insane expensive. I know it can help us with good content.
How much it costs?
Man, it was one of them so much where it was just like, I don't know about that. I'm gonna have to revisit it and see if they'll catch like a deal because I know they're trying to probably get the subs up. I want to say between them and the Athletic is ones that I'd be like, okay, they're interesting, but I can't pay the NFL Premium, the NFL Plus. I don't want to. I feel like I get NFL in the packages that they have them, and I have all the ways they get them. Like I know people didn't realize that, like, bro, y'all probably been had Amazon. Just ask your lady, and she'd be like, yeah, them packages that come to that. He's like, bro, you got Amazon, load it to the TV, and you can watch the Thursday night games. And people did not. I knew because I would be like, what's this package? And I started like, dang, you got all these. She was like, yeah. And I was like, and then we had it, and we would watch like before they got like the program they have now is not what they used to have. And now, like, I finally got into the boys like a few years ago, and so I'm like waiting for the next season. I watched some of the stuff on there, but mainly now it's just like, oh, I got the Thursday night football for me, and it's cool. The only thing I don't like is if you go to something else, you got to load back into the app, and that's the only down draw of Thursday
Yeah.
night football being over there. But unfortunately, a lot of Thursday night football ended up being kind of whack. What's going on? So it was like, all right, it's trash. So it's like I could just do something else. That's why, like on Thursday nights, when it comes to the football season, I'm dominating the TV, and I'm not ashamed. My wife knew he's going in.
Well, YouTube TV NFL Ticket now is on YouTube
Oh
TV.
yeah, and see,
Now,
they were talking about
I
the
don't get
lag.
that. Yeah, I don't get that because I I like Red Zone. Red Zone will kind of give you, all the stuff that you need with it, especially when it comes to fantasy football. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
they put that on. It's not. What was it on? Direct TV before.
I think it was on.
Now it's on
It's
YouTube
been on
TV.
DirecTV forever. I remember one
Yeah,
time you can OD. I remember one time my pops had got it. They had switched cable like right before the season, so they got it for free. I OD'd on football. I was like, oh, look at this game. I was kind of doing red zone before, well, red zone and didn't know red zone existed. But I like
I like
to
Red
kind of
Zone.
watch more so the games. But the red zone I've heard, like, I'm gonna try it out. But I need like a different TV setup so I can have the constant game here in
Yeah,
red zone on this TV.
you need one of them Stephen A. Smith setups. You know how all them bar setups when they be having those
Yeah.
collage of TVs. You can make it one screen, or you can literally split them up based on the TV sets you have on the wall. You need one of those. But yeah,
Yeah,
I like Red Zone because I'm always playing fantasy football, and it's
definitely.
just a perfect, complimentary thing for that. But what's up, Jay?
What's up, Jay?
What's up, brothers? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
We can hear you, man. How you
Sorry,
feeling
man.
about tonight, man?
Studying, bro.
What you studying?
you.
My hiragana and katakana, bro. Like I said, y'all know where I'm going. So I gotta study, like I study the handwriting and shit. I gotta study that. Speaking ain't the issue, it's just the handwriting. But okay, there's two things I know you got on the topic to talk about. First of all, I'm glad to know that man's not guilty. Thank goodness. That's good. That's good for me. Cause that whole story last week was wild, which I told me. I'm sorry. That was in my head for a good 2 days. So I'm glad to know the brother, yeah, because he really shouldn't be charged with anything. Maybe over excessive of bullets, but I don't care. Like you already know my stance on that part. But finals wise, listen, you just want a good finals, NBA finals. I think we all know this. We don't want to sweep. We don't want that nonsense. I haven't had a good. What was the last good NBA finals I watched? I think that was the Spurs and 2016 Cavs and Warriors, and I would say 20. It can't be 2012 freaking Thunder, because that was a stomp. So I would say 20. I would say 2013 the Heat and Spurs, like back and forth, things like that. Like you want a competitive finals. You don't want a sweep of any kind. And I'll say this:
Yeah.
what you do want, like I'll say this, if it is like 4-1, 3-1, but you want those games to be close as possible, to the point where someone's up by 1, 2, or 3, to where it wasn't a blowout. So that's what I want. I haven't got that. I'll tell you what. You want to know a secret? I didn't watch that Celtics Warriors finals. You want to know why? Because I knew the Warriors were gonna win. There was no point in watching that.
The Celtics gave them what? They jumped out to
They
a 2-0 lead.
Yeah,
Game
they
two
jumped up to the lead, and
make
I
it
think
3.
they were a lot of. Well, I won't say they were the favorites, but I couldn't remember in
Warriors were the
Vegas.
favorite.
But I know a lot of people felt that they could win that series. I
Yeah,
know a lot of people felt that. I mean, I'll take mine out of it because I'm biased. I never root for them. I need a blood relative. It's got to be a blood relative. If it's past the second cousin, I can't do it. It's got to be child or first cousin. Or
No. I feel you. No, I feel you. It's just that like whenever we talk about these like finals, like nobody wants that shit to be boring or plain. I'm not saying they're not
mm,
boring, because me tell me that they're boring, then like you haven't watched basketball, let alone the playoffs. Like I
yeah,
said, the playoffs are the best time to watch it.
it's got to
Really,
be. It got to be. And I'm with you
really
because it's
competitive.
like the finals bring back certain memories for me because like
And it was
even when you
Super Bowl.
obviously your team can't make it every year, but like it would be fun. Like one of my favorite things, like as far as like a churchgoer, vacation Bible school, and always being when on one of those nights you're gonna be ready to get home for a finals game, and like going and seeing how everything goes and the excitement behind it. So it's just like it's always been like on the calendar because my dad like basically football was one, basketball was a close two. Like so it's just like it was always like, hey, who's playing? And, who's gonna do it? Especially shit growing up, Lakers is like, man, I had a three-peat in there or and four finals appearances in 5 years. So it's just like I'm used to like my team being in the finals, and so it's like it's good to look at it and see because a lot of times with the NBA, Draymond, if y'all haven't seen it, he did something really interesting. He was like, let's talk about the titles. The last, in the basically in the era of if you 40 and under, or 45, maybe even 45, just depending on Bird, but I don't want to speak for that generation. He was just like, let's name who got the titles. He was like Bird, Magic, Kareem. He started going off the people, and then he started going. He was like Isaiah / Joe Dumars, of course Jordan. He was like Kobe, Shaq, and then he named the coaches. Phil. He named everybody, and what's interesting is when he went and named everybody, I've never heard the players shit on the bubble championship, the bubble title. I've never heard any player do it. What he did do is he was just like Giannis, the 21 team. He was like, they never beat anybody of those teams that I mentioned. And all the teams that I mentioned, everybody in there basically beat one of those other teams, one of those top tier squads. Because he did put himself, Drake, Clay, and Steph in that lineage of players. And of course, Steve Kerr won championships and won as a coach. And so he broke all that down. And he was like, they're the outlier. They're the only outlier. And I was like, damn, that's great. And that's just another
the Bucks are outliers.
2021 Bucks. He said because he said they're the only one. They didn't beat any of those teams. I don't think he mentioned. I think he left some of the other outliers. Now he might have mentioned the Mavericks. And yeah, he mentioned the Mavs. He said because the Mavs beat LeBron and D Wade, beat that team. He said so they were outlier. He was like the Celtics were an outlier, but they did beat two things of them being an outlier, and I'll give them a little bit of credit here. They beat Kobe and Powell. So I hate when they leave Powell out. They beat Kobe and Powell, but the next year where they could have been a rematch when the Lakers was there, KG got hurt. So KG had a big injury. I think the Magic, who really shouldn't have been there, who went out a better team than the Celtics, but they caught them without KG, and it's just like, look, they treated them like food, like they were supposed to. And then LeBron was supposed to go to the finals, but the Magic was too much for them. They had shooters, and they had him in the paint. Like it was the beginning of the 3-point wave where it's just like, we got all shooters, and we got a post player. We're going to play 4 out, 1 in. What you going to do? And so the Lakers had something for that. They had 2 7-footers. They had 2 7-footers and enough defenders to go out and defend the three. So it was an interesting take on the eras and the legacies of big players and what that means. And like, I feel Dame on what he's saying, but like, Dame, I want you to be that outlier. I want him to, like he said, he's starting to talk about it. He was like, if it was somewhere, I would go.
I've noticed Dame been doing a lot more talking this offseason. I guess you got the time now, but Dame's been doing a lot of talking this offseason. I've been noticing.
He has.
Dame,
he's been over
too much from Dame.
All that. He's been doing all that.
I ain't gonna lie. I think it's because he sees mortality. He sees the end of the road. Like, people got to realize with Dame, he played 4 years in school. He was not one of these guys. Like, what's the name? We're gonna get a bunch of contracts if he what's his young guy from the Knicks, RJ Barrett. He came in super young. He's on this deal. He's gonna get another deal, and then after that deal, he's gonna get one more. Where it's like, oh, he kind of older. That's if he, plays at that level. Dame is like, I'm sign my extension. This is it. Like, when this contract is out, he's probably done. He's more open about talking about the end, talking about guys. It's like, nah, Dame. Real sports heads are gonna talk about you. They know. Like, when they talk about greatest shooters, they're gonna talk about Steph. They're gonna talk about Clay. Of course, Ray Allen. Well, Ray Allen I probably put before Steph because, and then their name was gonna be brought up there.
Yeah, Steph passed Ray. My bad. Steph passed Ray last year, either 2 years ago or last year. When he officially passed him in threes, I do remember that. And then that's why Steph's the top of shooter.
And I even heard people say long range shooter. They said say long range shooter when you say greatest shooter. And that when you refer to Steph, because out of respect for the guys that the 3-point shot was not as prolific, or it wasn't, they took more mid range and then they free throws. But it's like when it comes to shooting, the only thing you can say is like, well, he didn't take as many mid ranges. But if you look at the free throw percentage, I'm pretty sure in there he's got a 50, 40, 90. So I feel like if you're a greatest shooter, you need to have at least one 50, 40, 90. And the fact that Dirk had one is insane. It's like absolutely insane.
Dude, have these shots.
What's the name? What's the name's gonna do one? I'm gonna tell you who's gonna do one. And I hate that he plays. I'll say this, and I never realized. I listen to both Mighty Joes a lot, but he has disdain for Karl Anthony Towns, and it's just like, and I see why, because it's like, bro, you should. I'm not trying to say you need to be 90s tough, but you need to have a little more to you, a little more beat on your chest. Like you could tell. What's the name runs that team? Ant-Man runs that team. Yeah, Anthony Edwards runs that team, and I like Anthony Edwards. I know Black Man was saying guys can't play in this era. Anthony Edwards is a guy. You take his dime back and you drop him off for the 90s, he'd have been just fine. Like I like the way his style is. I like how I could tell he's getting the polish from the interviews. I don't want him to lose the realness. I don't want, like we was talking about the guy, he was like, if I see you, I don't care who shot black you are, I'm going up. And I'm like, bro, that's what the fans want to see. And he's got like, I say Giants has some almost, he connects on a lot of his. I'm talking about he's putting dudes in the realm. And I love it. That's what I'm trying to see. But
he will those are basically players who love to compete. That's basically it. But there was one question I wanted to ask y'all. I heard it. It was a fun debate I originally heard on First Take. I don't know if it was this morning or yesterday morning. It was basically who in today's NBA would you say is the hardest to guard?
The hardest of guards?
Hardest to guard. Yeah, hardest to guard.
Okay. Right now, I would see he's not in the freaking finals, so I'll give him the number 2 spot. Right now, I'm gonna say Jokic is number 1 hard to guard. Jokic is hard to guard in terms of a big guy because of his unique, unorthodox body. That's number 1. 2, I would have said Giannis because it's hard to stop him. Because you can technically, like Jokic, you can go through a plethora of dudes and just dunk on them. But that's not his, you know his way of playing. We've all seen him in the finals. We've seen him in the playoff series. We know how he plays. Like I said, he's not afraid to get to the rim. Like him, the ability or advantage that he has, like Jokic, is that they're so big and fast. I would say Giannis is a little faster than Jokic. But yeah, he, like I said, he can really get to the rim. Yeah, he's really fast. That's why I said, if the finals we got was Milwaukee Bucks versus the Denver Nuggets, I'd be like, damn, it's like the battle of the big men. That would have been like, okay, bro, that's a legendary finals. I'd like to see that because those are 2 dudes who are really skilled, and really no dude on the team can really guard Giannis from Denver, and no one really on Milwaukee could guard Jokic. So like I think they're the two of the hardest people to guard. Anthony Davis, you can make an argument. You can make an argument for Anthony Davis too because Anthony's really big, but
he's quicker than the other centers. Because like there were times where it's like Jokic was on him and I was like, oh my God, you left him. But like Jokic is leaving him with footwork and craftiness. He's leaving him with like, hey bro, I'm quicker than you. Like I've seen him when it's certain bigs guarding him, he's just going baseline and just reverse dunking on them, and it's crazy.
Reverse dunk, he reverse dunks on them. So
only reason I won't say for me, Giannis, is just because we got the blueprint. Hey bro, we're gonna back off. We're gonna surround this paint and we're gonna stop. Now it's easier to say, harder to do. I want to say Steph because I've never been more stressed than that game because it's like every time the ball touches his hands. Because when you're watching the game, it's like in baseball, it's a slower game. I can say it's a law of averages. I see a guy that's a 300 hitter, he's 0 for 2 or he's 0 for 4, do 4 hit. More than likely, boom, gets a hit. Law of averages. With Steph, though, it's like law of averages, I know, but it's a basketball game. And it looks beautiful off his hand every time. So it's like, oh my gosh, is he going to make this shot and send me home? Nope, Britt. Nope. But from an Arsenal standpoint, and KD, and I'm going to pick KD, he just said this. Having a deep bag is having a deep bag, the dribble moves, or being able to score from any point. And that's why I'm going with KD. Post-wise, obviously he can go and hit you with a fadeaway. He can hit you with the one leg dirt shot. Not like dirt, but he can do other things not like dirt. And it's just like, bro, you are a 6'10" guard, like literally with some handle.
I'm
Like so,
LeBron.
like it's but LeBron is definitely on that list. And so, but I was like,
I was
I'm a, for
surprised
this one, I'm a
LeBron is harder to guard than the new. I think LeBron is not hard to like the way he is now. He's not hard to guard at all. If you made like
well, that's because he can't go to the
like those
rack all
versions of
night
him,
long.
yeah.
No,
But I
that
mean,
and that's
those
it.
versions of him were like hard to stop. Let's just keep it real.
Nah, it
Nobody
was.
was stopping that brother when he was getting into the lane.
Nah, they've shown it. When you look at the clips and how he was just like going like, what was it, the 2012 year when he shot 40% from three?
Yeah.
And I'm talking about for the season. I think when he won it,
Oh, the
he was
season
like 40 from
overall.
three, and he was like a freight train. And it's just like you're not stopping that. Nobody's taking that charge, and he just going. He was defending. Like he was so hard to stop at that point. I feel
Yeah.
like I'm like a lot of old school guys. I wish he would have probably got just real deep with the post bag. But I'm with KD. Like, yeah, it's cool to have the dribble moves. That's great. But he can score and attack from all these different types of angles.
I say, I say to me, is basically, and when I was hearing it this morning, he was making the same points that I always had in mind. I say to me, the hardest person to guard is Steph because I cannot remember, and I cannot remember the pure frantic a defender is doing. When they get their defensive position, I remember. I forgot which game. It's when the Warriors and the Lakers was playing in the playoffs, and I forgot which particular game. But it was towards the end, and Davis was switched out. And Davis can hold a point guard. That's what makes his defense
Yeah.
so great. He can hold
Yeah.
literally all five positions. But even he came out and was left with Steph at the top of the 3-point line, and you can see his feet just going just side like a typewriter, just trying to say because with Steph is so lethal with his shot that pretty much when he shoots, you expect it to go in. That's how lethal he
Definitely.
is. And normally, if it's a good, they use it normally in the NBA. If they're a good shooter, they primarily like majority like Clay, a good catching. Even though Clay can put it on the floor a little bit, they're more a catch and shoot,
Hmm.
high percentage shooter. What makes Steph so dangerous? He has handles, like damn near Kyrie level handles, and he
Yeah.
only needs like this dude only needs like a slither of space to launch a three, and he can shoot his threes and all. He can do the traditional form. He has this like shot put type form. All these different type of forms just to get a three off. That's just that part of his game, you know. And then also, I think the best player that I've seen move without the ball was Reggie Miller. Steph Curry can do that. So
Yeah. He
not
can he
only
can
can
do that.
Steph can put fear in your heart when he actually has the ball, and you trying to do whatever in your best ability because and what's so underrated about Steph's game, he's an excellent finisher at the rim.
Yeah.
So he will put you in this damn near popcorn machine. He will literally have the
Yeah.
finish. You see them. You literally see them just bouncing
Playing for the
side to
three.
side because they try to protect the three, and he will see that. He will get their weight leaning forward, and then
Hmm.
go on by him
Yeah.
and just throw it off the rim. He's an
His le- his le-
excellent finisher.
his layup package is nasty. And the
It's
one thing is,
nasty.
I noticed, and young kids, they definitely do his layup. I know people talk about the threes, but they definitely shoot layups like him now. I've been in too many gyms to see it. But when they had Jaren Jack, that first year they really popped. They had Jaren Jack playing point, and he was run. I was like, bro, he can really run off screen. Then he left, and I was like, oh, he can play on ball. And I was like, this dude really got
There
something.
was J.R. Smith recently did an interview, and he mentioned how when the Cavs played the Warriors, 'cause you remember when they lost Kyrie and Kevin Love, the main defender on
Going on the
Steph
medic.
was Dellavedova. And he said Dellavedova was damn near dead after the games because he was chasing Steph all around the court.
Yeah, man.
And that's and you see that too. Like
Yeah.
Stephen A brought up a good point with Jokic. Jokic is just down for the most part down in the paint, and he can be anywhere on the court,
Yeah.
basically. But because he's a big man, so he's gonna be down in the paint. But basically, is okay. Whoever your five is, your job is to watch Jokic. That's basically your responsibility. And whoever the weeks like the Lakers did when they had a tandem with Davis and Hachimura. But with Steph, all five defenders have to know where he's at. Because this dude is literally he's running around the court. You know, as soon as he gets the ball and he has a little bit of space, that ball going up, and it's a high chance it's going in. So, and he's also the first time I've seen literally, especially during that Juggernaut Warriors time frame, where the defense literally had to pick him up at half court.
Yeah,
because he was just so lethal. So I've never seen a basketball player like that. You know, it's just like the fear that he put, and you actually see it on the court when they get in their defensive stance. Dude's feet be choppy because you have no idea where he's gonna go. He can pull up on you because he don't need no space at all. And if you stay on him, he can easily drive by you. So that's why I have to say Steph, because I just saw it and I just see how frantic defenders are when they have it's like they like, damn, I'm stuck with this dude now. And a lot of times he ends up embarrassing them.
Yeah, we're just like people, the players in the world that we know of that were all hard to guard. Like Allen Iverson was one of them. I'm not talking about now in the league, but we're talking about like back then. There were a lot of people. Like I can name them all that were just, like I said, AI's fast moving, unorthodox movements, the way he would move and shit. No one was really prepared for that shit. Literally, you breaking ankles doing that to somebody.
Yeah, and AI was a hard. He was a hard guard, but he was more of like a traditional scorer.
That's why.
Because AI was that traditional scorer, you know. And but
he was a true volume scorer. Because and what sucks is I like the analytics, but I like to merge the analytics with with your eyes. And the thing with Allen Iverson is he is not going. Yes, he is not going to be. He's not going to age well. At times, Kobe's game doesn't age well. He shot a higher percentage than Allen Iverson. I think for his career, he was 41%. In this era,
40% from the field, I think that's what it was.
Yeah, it's like, but you remember the highs, and we remember his mama braiding him up on the side. Like, we remember him culturally. We remember him for, yes, he is the reason for the dress code. A man showed up, white tee, diamond out, All-Star Weekend with a meat, rap album. Like, they was like, we got between that and the Malice at the Palace. They was like, nope, we got to change the image. Got to change it. And so it's like, it was easy for me to pick LeBron, so I didn't go there. I went with Kevin Durant, but because my thing is, everybody always say his best thing is the passing. It's the passing. But he got 10K assists. He got more points than anybody. It's like, nah, bro, he's averaging 27 year 20. You're like, nah,
he's number one all-time scorer. That means you've been shooting.
You a bucket. you a bucket, man. But I know we got a little bit time left, and so we said we were going to speak on it, and it just, man, it was crazy. Basically there's a golf league called the Live Golf, called Live Golf, and it's basically it's financed and backed by Saudi Arabia. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, those of you that don't know, just kind of Google. They're doing what's called sports washing. And matter of fact, I was reading an article, and that's the first thing it's called. So basically, just like someone that might do illegal business such as drugs or anything else, they need to wash their money to clean it. Well, these billionaires, they need to do sports washing because people love sports. They'll bring goodwill, give people good feelings, because they got some bad stuff in their past that they don't want to tell you about. And the type of money is insane. Like the Saudis were going to pay the soccer player or football player, Lionel Messi. They were going to pay him for 3 years. They're going to pay him $1.5 billion, $500 a year to play for their league. And he turned it down and he came to Miami to play. They have ridiculously long pockets, And what happened is they came out because they was the Saudis, the PGA golf tournament. They were golf league was like, nah, we're not gonna rock with them. They were paying guys huge money to leave. And so you got a lot of big name golfers, even though some of them were older, some of them were younger, not the golf enthusiasts. So I'm just taking the words from what the golf people say. So it came to a head. They were not going to let them, golf in PGA events. And then with the Saudis, they could not get their golf league on TV. As much money as they had, they could not get a television sponsor because they were marked, persona non grata. They were marked that way. Well, the PGS came out and said, we're not going to deal with them. Just shunning them. And then all of a sudden, yesterday, breaking news, they're partnering with them. And I say that's a big deal because Tiger Woods had a deal. They were trying to pay him anywhere between what I've heard, 600 to 800 million to come to their golf league. And you turn that down, and now only for them to link up, loyal, and then you've got players saying, "Oh, there's a golf show that I forgot the name of it, but it's called on Netflix." They said they were filming when that announcement dropped because players were like, "I was having a good round, then I heard this news. Oh, I heard this. I heard we were never doing business with them." Matter of fact, to paraphrase, someone dealing with the PGA tournament made a statement about the victims of 9/11 and tying it into, we can't deal with this league. They're tied to that. So the victims of 9/11 came out and spoke about that. It was like basically called the PGA people full of shit.
Tommy B.
Yeah, so you saw a lot of hypocrisy.
Me and him gonna have a dog.
It's all about the bread.
And the thing about it is, in America, it's always been about the money. And there's countless and the PGA is a corporation. They're a business, and many times for whatever reason, even outside of golf, for whatever reason, people put athletes on these higher, I guess, ethical platforms than they do like government officials or any other, how reputable people or whatnot, lack of a better word. But so they expect the players, or sports players, just to be accountable in all these various ways. And meanwhile, you have corporations, they all been doing business with the Saudis for years, and because it's all about the money. And yeah, I think that, and when I heard that how dudes was trying to be loyal to PGA, they was like they was getting off because one thing about it, the Saudis they had money that the PGA couldn't give. Like you said, they pockets go deep. They go from the waist down.
Their collective had I was reading the story. It had like 640 billion. You can't beat them.
You can't beat them. You can't. Maybe the only thing I think we have a chance to compete with that. I don't even know if they could. Is the NFL. And I don't even know if they could compete. They got long money. So you have.
Man, I didn't know that about Tiger's son. And now you're right. I'm with you, Mark. I don't think LeBron would definitely
get that money. But you got these players trying to be loyal to the PGA, so they're turning down these hundreds of millions of dollars, like you mentioned. Even other than Tiger was almost damn near $1 billion. But
Rory McIlroy, he turned it down.
And there was another dude. It was another golfer who wasn't even as highly ranked. I forgot his name because I don't really follow golf like that. But I forgot his name. But they offered him, I believe, like $300 million, and he turned that down, trying to be loyal to PGA. Next thing you know, PGA they over there talking about these dudes they not gonna play for us no more. The ones who crossed over and all that. Next thing you know, now those dudes again like DeChambeau, whatever his name is, they coming back to play. I'm like, damn man, I could have got all that money, man. You made me miss out on $300 million because. I'm not surprised about the hypocrisy because America has always been about the money. And I see Tommy popped up. What's up, Tommy?
What's up, y'all?
Tommy, my man.
What's happening, dog? Nah, shit, man. That's all they fault, dog. I mean, we know how the game go. And you better go get your bread. You feel me? And they fucked up. They dropped the ball, man. Like, the one thing that we all know by now is there ain't no loyalty in business. And
No.
all of these dudes
especially in this
try to be
country.
loyal in business. And it's a prime example why it ain't none. You feel me? So, I mean, hey, sorry for you.
Yeah.
But
What they say they be dropping that quote. Man, they said if you don't sell out, if you don't sell out, let somebody go sell you out. They should have
I
kind
don't
of took it.
I just think a lot of people probably not surprised about the hypocrisy about the PGA. I think they more like because the PGA was so vocal when everything was, they were saying like we ain't gonna do this, and like you said, they brought 9/11 into it, all of this, and then just to turn around a year later, hey, we partnered with them and all that. So hey,
Wow.
money rules stuff in this country. So if you
Them
follow,
contracts better be nice though, because there's some lawsuits coming.
Yeah, it's
Some
it's some
lawsuits
stuff coming,
coming.
and I'll say this: I heard one of the main reasons they did it is because the Saudis had sued them, and they was just like they got so much money they could have bled them
they
out. They said
they
the
pockets
PGA
too
was
deep, man.
borrowing to raise the purses. They were borrowing money against future TV deals, so they was going in the red competing with these guys, and they was just like, nah. I mean, which is wild because I think when I think about the PGA, I think about stuff like the Masters. I didn't know how they get down. They so rich, they don't even take ad money, and the PGA Tour don't got money like that, and so they can't. They gotta bow down. And the Saudis is whatever they do with the sports watching, man. It's I don't know how well it's gonna work, but they damn sure flexing.
They
It's a
always flex their
flex
money.
because golf is a rich sport. Like all of their sponsors are are high level stuff. So that's wild. Here, let me see.
So it looked like we got to reach the final thoughts portion of the show. I know Tommy, he just joined us, so Tommy, I'll let you go first with whatever thoughts you had in mind, whatever you want to get off your chest.
Yeah, I mean, shout out old boy. He beat the case.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
you know what's
Definitely.
crazy about that shit is, I don't know if y'all have ever got one of them texts before, but that's the main reason why I tell these bros don't ever text me no shit like that, man. These motherfucking bros get whether it's BM, girlfriend, sister, whatever. Hey man, don't text me no stupid ass shit like that, man. These motherfuckers will be quick to text you, tell you to shoot some shit up, go smoke this. Man, if you don't get that shit the fuck out my phone, evidence
Mhm.
like a motherfucker, dog. You know what I'm saying? And just naturally the way my motherfucking brain operate, bro. That's first thing on my head, man. First thing they do is go through my phone. They see your stupid ass just send me some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? You done fucked up the whole play anyway. If that's some shit that I was gonna be on, like I hate that shit. And well, I don't know exactly how that shit went down. I don't know if they really went over there to kill that boy, or if they went over there just to jump him. But whatever happened, she definitely fucked up the whole situation with that stupid ass text message. That pretty much, got him off the hook or whatever. Uh, but yeah, man, motherfuckers gotta be careful with these bras, man. That shit wild.
What you got, Jay?
Definitely.
I agree with you, my man, Tommy. I agree with you. My man just sent me some hilarious. But like I said, I'm glad a brother beat the case. I said what I had to say. Like I said, I'm glad for that shit. I just don't like stupid bees in general. Just know who you messing with. Seriously. As for Dame, Dame needs to go to mine. If he said because he said he wanted to play with Bam, I'm gonna say that shit. And guess what? I don't want the Knicks. I don't want the Knicks to get him because that team is ass. He won't go any further with them. Now with Philly because Joel Embiid chokes. So fuck no. No, he does because if he did, he
He
would have
does.
won.
Now he does. He my boy, but he did. You was up. You was up, man. He had.
I would have
He
given
should
him
have. He should have
MVP
took
to
that
Joker.
serious.
Ain't that
I would
why
have
he
given
needs
MVP.
somebody that ain't gonna choke?
And the
Who?
They
person
got
they
James
brought, the
Harden.
Steph
person,
Curry?
the
You gonna say
person they
Steph
brought
Curry
with them
gonna
definitely
choke?
was going to recommend that. So what?
Yeah, but no, but yeah, what Dame said, like, that would be dope if he did it. I'd be cool with that. And at least just me personally, just because he's like that'd be like top 5 dangerous team in the East already, like not even a contested. But other than that, like I said, we'll see what happens in this finals. Whoever wins. I'm cool. Like I said, it's one a good series. Oh, that's all I care about. And Ja, still a fucking idiot. You get what's done to you. I know you're the only basketball player to do something this stupid. And all the other ones, if they did get caught, it wasn't on fucking camera. They had security all next to them. You can't find one bad thing to Michael Jordan to this day. Don't forget that. Even though he punched Steve Kerr, don't forget that though.
Jordan was getting he was getting into folks all back in the locker room. I'll let you finish it off, Dante.
Man, I don't really.
That's my thoughts. You just had to say it.
The only thing I got is I know we're gonna get into baseball. We root for rival teams. Man, I'm glad we in first place. So we feel pretty damn stupid to get six starts
got the notification
for 185 million. So we gave a dude 185 million. And he's got to get UCL. So when I hear Tommy John, I hear a year and a half. Yeah, when you get Tommy John, that's a year and a half.
Yeah.
They pumping up this smoke like he'll be back hopefully the end of next year. And I'm like, nah, bro, I ain't got no hope because you lied to me to start with. You lied to me to begin with. So I don't got no confidence in it. I'm just glad we winning. And things is going cool because to be honest, I like baseball, but it's kind of like a placeholder until football starts, and then when the playoffs come, I'm locked into baseball. So it's like it's shit long as hell. So it's hard to be locked in that dang long, but I mean this is pretty exciting. So it's cool to see it go. So that's all I got, man.
I guess my final thoughts is going to be Jay brought it up in his this whole Ja Morant thing, and I was like when this whole thing when the second time it came out, it was about damn near a month ago, and I guess a whole month done passed, and all of a sudden now his camp want to come out talking about this gun was a toy. So that's the best y'all can do after a month, and then afterwards. Ja already quickly came out with an apology after the video came out. When the video happened, his homeboy quickly shut down his phone to try to, take it off screen. So I'm like, y'all didn't act like it was a toy. And all of a sudden, a month later, now somebody from the camp talking about it's a toy. Even though they postponing the punishment until after the finals because they don't want this to take over any attention from the finals, and rightfully so. I believe that Ja's going to get a big-time suspension because from what Silver was saying, and apparently Stephen A. Smith interviewed and asked him again today. I didn't see that interview, but he asked him again today about the whole Ja stuff. And but I believe that the biggest thing about it, because they already talked about this the first time. And basically immediately, Ja went and put himself in the same situation again. So, the commissioner, he already has a reputation of being a player's commissioner. And, I mean, it's a good thing, at times. But he's still, as far as for the NBA, he's an authoritative figure. And you basically got some leniency the first time. What you're not going to do is make him look like a fool, and go out and do it immediately again. So now you're going just like how he did with Sterling. It was the owner and all that. He's shown he could throw the hammer down if it's called for it. And since you're gonna make him look like a fool, you basically lied to this man's face, and basically less than a month later, put yourself. Like, okay, now you think I'm a fool. I'm about to lay the hammer down on you. So to me, regardless of all, everybody talking about he didn't do nothing illegal or whatnot, man, forget all of that. He basically lied to the commissioner in his face and then immediately went to go do it again. That alone will make a commissioner lay the law down on you. So, I was just, that whole story, I was like, his camp, y'all stay off the internet. Y'all don't talk to nobody. Don't come up with no more excuses. Just leave it alone. And
he just got to disappear so he can lay off. I know we got to get ready for Mandrell and them coming up next. So Man, we out of here, y'all.
Yeah, see y'all next week.
Have a
Peace.
good one. See y'all next week. Peace.